Hey guys, are you trying to figure out what type of an RV to buy? Are you trying to figure out if RVing is the right lifestyle for you and your family? Stay tuned to find out. I'm going to answer a number of questions regarding buying new RVs. Hey guys, it's Jeff with RVHelpOnline.com. Welcome to the show today. This is just going to be a episode regarding purchasing a new RV, as well as what to look for and if RVing is right for you and your family. Uh, So to start off with, we bought our first RV. It's been almost 10 years ago, so we've been RVing for a decade now, and we've been through four of them so far. We're sitting in our newest one. This is a Grand Design Reflection 28BH is the model number. It's a 2017. We've purchased new RVs, used RVs over the years, and there's a number of differences and a number of different things to look for when looking and to purchase an RV. So our passion for RVing really was built in the last 10 years. I never grew up having an RV. We never grew up having anything like that. No travel trailers, anything of that sort. We always grew up tent camping, backpacking, things like that. My wife and I, when we got married, we did a lot of tent camping to start with, and we had our son at that point. And it just made it very difficult, especially here in the Pacific Northwest with all the rain and everything else that happens in this area, to really enjoy our experience. You had to come home, dry out your tent, clean up all your gear. It seemed like you were toting the house with you every time we went anywhere. So it really made it hard. We discussed a long time having our first RV. Our first RV was a 2010, 2000, no, 2008 Keystone Hideout bunkhouse model. And it was a great trailer. We loved it very much. It was very open floor plan and had a nice big slide out. It was about 33 feet long from the rear bumper of the truck to the rear bumper of the trailer. It had a lot of things that we really liked, but it didn't have a separate bedroom for the kids. We decided then that we were going to move into a toy hauler. We thought that that would be a good option to have with the separate garage space for the kids and things like that. That one was a 2009. We bought it used. A 2009 Kz Inferno. It was a 43 foot long toy hauler, and there was a lot of things that we really loved about it. We loved that the kids had their own bedroom, the garage. We didn't have any toys to pull, four-wheelers, ATVs, anything like that. We just used that space for the kids area, kind of a mud room. The rear ramp door was a deck that we used to barbecue on. But when it really came down to it, it was just way too big for the kind of camping that we enjoyed doing. We got it into a number of very tight spots. In fact, we got it stuck in the snow on one trip. It was quite the adventure getting it out. And then after that, we had that for it was about 2 years, I guess, a year and a half, 2 years. And then we purchased a 11 and a half foot truck camper. So you can see the complete extremes we went from. We went from a 43 foot monstrosity to a truck camper that fit in the bed of our truck. Granted, it was the biggest truck camper they made, and it really fit the bill for a couple of years. We really enjoyed it. It was a great RV to have. I love the convenience of being able to drive anywhere with it, park it anywhere, and really it was more like a motorhome. You had everything you need with you. We were able to leave the dogs in the back. They were able to travel back there. It really freed up space in the cab. But once again, what that boiled down to is that it wasn't perfect. It had a wet bathroom, which was a great idea, and it really makes sense in a camper, in my opinion. But the way it was designed, I'm about 6'4". I could only stand up if I put my head in the skylight. So it was too small for four people and two dogs. It was a crowded space. Had great storage, great tank sizes, a lot of really great features that we really, really enjoyed. In fact, someday I would love to have a fifth wheel like we currently have and a truck camper to be able to use for events. We would load up the camper and take it to my son's lacrosse tournaments, even if it was just a day thing. We would take it with us all the time because it was so convenient and so easy. You could park it anywhere. We didn't have a boat or anything that we pulled, but a lot of folks that have boats, they go with the truck camper style of RV because it makes sense for them. They're pulling boats and everything else or whatever else they may be pulling. We now currently are, like I said, our current trailer is a 34 foot fifth wheel. It has a small bunkhouse in the back. One of these days I'm going to get around and do a review of this trailer just because we think it's such a good family oriented trailer. Um, our kids are now 13 and 6, and for us, the bunkhouse makes a lot of sense. The kids have their own space, they have their own hard door if they want to get away, or if we want to stay up and play cards with some of the friends we hang out with, we can do that around the table and still have the kids in their bedroom with the door shut. So I've truly been passionate about the RVs for a very long time. I've helped a number of friends purchase RVs over the years. I've answered multiple questions of friends, helped them fix up their RVs, do things like that. So I really have a great passion for RVing. So that's a little bit of background on me and kind of where we came from. We average 30 to 35 nights a year in our trailer, so we try to use it a lot. Thankfully, both of our work schedules are flexible enough that we're able to do that and enjoy that. When we really started looking at the RVs, when we were really thinking about it, what really was the selling point for us was that we were not financially in a position to where we could take more than 1 or 2 trips a year flying somewhere, and with hotels, flights, especially with the 4 of us. Then we'd have to have dog care, things like that. So what it boiled down to for us is there's so much cool stuff within driving distance, or a day or two driving distance of us here in the Pacific Northwest, which I imagine there is anywhere in the country, lakes, rivers, whatever you like to go and see or do, that it made sense for us to purchase an RV. Yes, we were making a monthly payment on it. Yes, it was another insurance bill. But in the long run, we were able to take many more multiple trips for the same cost as flying somewhere. So that's what made sense for our family. If your family likes to fly places and do a lot of those things, you certainly can still do those, but I recommend the RVs to anybody. I mean, my wife and I, we talk about it all the time, that the RV is truly the best thing we've ever done for our family. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. We use it all the time. This summer, it's like we're going on a trip every 2 weeks or so. So it's truly a blessing to have for us, is the RV. There's a lot of things you want to consider when you're thinking about an RV and when you're doing your research. The main one is, what kind of a vehicle are you going to tow it with? Is it going to be a towable? Is it going to be a motorhome? Is it going to be a travel trailer? Is it going to be a van conversion? Whatever you decide to do, if I'm going to really speak to the travel trailer and fifth wheels, because that's really what I know. I've never owned a motorhome. I've never owned a van conversion, anything like that. So really the market that I know the most, and which I think is the least expensive to get into for families, is the travel trailer and fifth wheel market. Now, we've had the pleasure of having both, and I did have to upgrade my truck when we bought our toy hauler. It was about 18,000 pound toy hauler, so it was very, very heavy, and it required a dually pickup. I was in the market for a newer pickup anyway, so I looked for a dually, and that's what I got. We've always had a 3/4 ton or 1 ton truck though, so I've never been super concerned with weight or the pulling capacity of it. If you're driving something, like a Ford Escape or a half-ton Ford or a half-ton Dodge, that's really going to limit you on what style of trailers and what weight you can get away with. So that's important to think about. Are you going to need to upgrade your truck or your towing vehicle? Or are you in a position where you can just purchase a trailer? Now, there's a number of trailers out on the market that fit the bill for smaller vehicles as well. The R-Pods of the world, the tags, the tent trailers, the ultralight travel trailers. There's a number of different trailers out there to look at, and I encourage you to look at all of the models and don't limit yourself right off the bat. Yes, your friends may have a certain trailer, but make sure that you really find what fits your family. Not everybody's idea of camping is the same. If you want an outdoor kitchen, we have an outdoor kitchen on our current trailer, but we've never used it. It's one of those things that it's more of a hassle for me to take all the food outside and to cook outside, but I have friends that they only cook outside of their RV. They never cook inside. So there's a number of different things that work for people and that don't work for people. So I encourage you to really focus on what your family needs or wants. It's like they always say, there's never the perfect RV. We feel like we have finally, on our 4th one, figured out what exactly works well for our family, and we're thoroughly enjoying it. But in the future, when the kids head off to college or they're out of the house, I could see that this is certainly going to change, and we're going to end up with something else probably that fits just the 2 of us. So it's really dependent on how big your family is as well. The size of the trailer is going to make a big deal, and where are you going to store that trailer? So here in Oregon, where we do the majority of our camping, we've also camped in Washington, California, Idaho, Montana, all over the Pacific Northwest. Oregon really has a blessing of a state park system. The state parks are newer. A lot of their money goes into updating them. They have fantastic programs to help keep those working very, very well. And the nice thing is that if you do state park camp is that you always know what you get. There's generally always a playground. The sites are always generally very clean. There's always a fire pit. There's always generally water and electric, at least hookups in your spot. And there's almost always a dump station within a very short distance of where you are. So we really enjoy the state park system. California, on the other hand, now I don't live there, and it's been a few years since we were traveling down there, but their state park system's a little bit older, and we had a hard time finding spots that were big enough for even our first travel trailer. So we ended up staying at KOAs. So depending on what kind of camping you want to do, I encourage you to really think about that. Our toy hauler was way too big. I had to do a lot of planning and do a lot of research ahead of time to figure out what spots we could fit in and if we were going to be able to make it work. Whereas our camper, we were able to take tent sites and be completely self-contained because we had a solar panel on the roof and we didn't need the water or electric hookups. Storage-wise, you really need to be thinking about where you're going to store your trailer. Some of these... can you store it on the side of your house? Do you have a place on your property that you can store it? Or are you going to have to spend the money to have it stored somewhere else for you? There's a lot of RV storage facilities around that you can do it at. Friends' houses, things like that. And price can go from anywhere. I would say average price for RV storage is approximately $100 to $150 a month, depending on some of the stuff you want. Excuse me. So that's another expense to consider. And size really does make a difference with that. If you're going to have to store your trailer, obviously a smaller trailer or a smaller RV is going to be cheaper to store than a 43-foot toy hauler. We've thankfully been blessed that we've never had to pay for storage. We've always had property at our houses that we've been able to store our RVs at. So another thing to consider is how experienced are you at pulling trailers? Pulling a 30-foot travel trailer is quite a bit different than pulling a single axle utility trailer. In a lot of ways, backing it is much easier because you're stretching out that tongue length, and so your input, unlike a utility trailer with such a short tongue length, I think we've all done it, trying to back in a utility trailer, and that thing will get squirrely in a second. The double axle or triple axles really help as well because the input you put in doesn't allow it to move as fast. So, how much experience do you have pulling trailers? What are you comfortable with pulling and backing in? So back to vacations and budgets, that's, like I said earlier, it really boils down to what works well for your family. Are you willing to drive to your vacations, or would you rather fly to places as well? And that, for us, we were willing to spend a little bit more on a nicer trailer because we aren't flying other places. It's something that would fit our family better and that we were able to use more often. Some things that I always look for in an RV when I'm looking for a new RV or helping a friend look for a new RV is some of my main concerns regarding newer families is sleeping capacity. Not necessarily how many people can sleep, but what do the beds look like for the kids, right? Do you have to make up a dinette every night? Do you have to fold out a couch every night for them to sleep on? Or does it have designated bunk beds? Another thing is tank sizes. Right? A lot of manufacturers and travel trailers, it's averaged about 45 to 60 gallons of fresh, which is plenty for a weekend. And then you move into your gray and your black tank capacities. Your gray tank, and there's a number of things you can do to help that along if your black and gray tanks are smaller. But generally speaking, your black tank, which is your sewer and your toilet water and everything else that goes down the toilet, will fill up slower than your gray tank. Your gray tank is your shower, your sinks, things like that. So gray tank capacity to me is a big deal. For instance, our trailer that we have now, we have 60 gallons of fresh, which is plenty for us, 86 gallons of gray between two tanks. It has a kitchen gray tank and a bathroom gray tank, and then a 43-gallon black tank, which is plenty. I would feel comfortable going for an entire week on the tanks that we have. Now that's being conservative with fresh water, and if I feel like we're going to be running out of fresh water or we don't have hookups, what I'll do is also carry extra jugs with us. So there's a number of different things you can do to help make those tanks go farther than the sizes that they are. And I'd be happy to discuss any of those with you guys. If you guys have questions, feel free to contact me. And I would be happy to give you guys some suggestions on that stuff. But really think about your tank sizes. If you have a family of 6, your black tank very well may fill up quick. Same with your gray tank, because people are going to want to shower, they're going to want to bathe, they're going to want to do dishes. We use a lot of paper plates to try and limit our gray water. There's a number of things that we do to try and make those tanks go further than what they are. Now, when you're researching RVs, some of the best things that I can recommend is do your homework. Out of all the dealerships we've dealt with, there's been one common problem, and that is that the dealers or the salesmen don't know the product as well as we have. Now, I'm a researchaholic, probably like many of you guys are. It's so easy to do in this day and age with the internet and videos and YouTube and a lot of those things. So I really do a lot of internet research. I look at a lot of different things, and it really gives you at your fingertips a whole bunch of floor plans. You can look at any floor plan in the world and look back on it and figure out what might work for your family. But that doesn't do nearly as good as actually walking through the RVs and seeing what it does. For instance, we had a Jayco model that we were very interested in looking at. It had 2 doors, 2 outside doors. The one went into the rear bathroom and then one went into the living room. The living room door was a normal standard width door. However, the outside bathroom door, which granted we wouldn't use very often, was very narrow. I had to go sideways through it because my shoulders, if I tried to go straight on with it, would hit both sides of the door. And that was something that I didn't want to deal with. And I didn't want, it was kind of a deal breaker for us. And so we walked away from that one. Now, that might not be a big deal to you, right? And that's why we're all different. But I just encourage you guys to find floor plans you like, look up the dealerships around in your area, go and walk those floor plans. And one of the best spots to be able to walk through multiple RVs at once is the RV shows. Here in Oregon, there's RV shows going on all the time. They do them at the casinos. They do them at the, here in Portland, a couple times a year, a couple big RV shows with multiple dealerships. And so you're able to walk through many, many different styles, many different floor plans of RVs. Typically, though, if it's a spring RV show, it's generally going to be more designed for families because those are the people that are generally buying in the summertime. If it's a fall RV show, those are more designed for the snowbirds that head to Arizona, head to warmer climates. So you're not going to have as many bunkhouses. You're not going to have as many family-oriented floor plans. It's going to be more designed for a retired couple or a couple people that just want to have an RV for themselves. So that's one thing to consider. Now, okay, you've picked out your RV. You've picked out exactly the one you want. What can you expect to pay versus the MSRP? Now, the general rule of thumb is that MSRP is generally a third to 25%, so 33 to 25% over what you should be paying. So if you take the MSRP and let's say it's for instance, our very first travel trailer MSRP was like $31,500 or somewhere right in there. We made an offer of $20,000 and we were able to take the RV home. So we saved a full 35% almost off the MSRP, and we were able to get a hitch thrown in, as well as it was ready to go within 2 days because we bought it out of our area. We were actually headed home from another vacation when we purchased it. So that's the general rule of thumb off MSRP. Make sure that you do your research on that, find out what other people are spending. NADA RV Guide is very good at giving you a rough estimate of where you're at and what you can expect to pay for that model. Back to the dealerships, I highly recommend that you guys, no matter what dealership you're going to go to, they obviously want to sell products. Don't let them talk you into settling for something that you know that you want. Don't settle. It's not worth it. It's your money. You're going to be the one that's using it. And the main things to not settle on for me is don't settle on your tank sizes. Don't settle on your sleeping capacity. Don't settle on the things that you're going to be using every day that you use it, right? So if you need to, if you absolutely don't want to pull a trailer longer than 35 feet, don't buy one. If you don't want to pull a travel trailer that's, longer than 20 feet, then you're going to be narrow, right? It's going to be a narrow search there, but don't settle. You won't be happy. We settled with our toy hauler. It was way too big. I didn't want anything over 36 feet, and we ended up getting a 43 footer. And my justification for that was that it was only about 4 feet longer going down the road than it was with our travel trailer, based on, the fifth wheel goes up and over the cab or the bed of the truck. In reality, it's still trying to park a 43-foot trailer over a 33 foot. You know, you got 10 extra feet. Yes, it's only 4 feet longer or so going down the road, but you still have to try and find a spot that'll hold a 43 foot trailer plus your truck still. So don't settle. Don't let the dealerships talk you into anything that they say is good for you. And one of the main things that we found is that a lot of the salesmen, they don't know the product as well as you will. I highly encourage you guys to do your research. Ask me questions anytime you want. Leave a comment at the bottom of this video if you guys have a question about something. I am more than happy to do some research for you and give you guys some floor plans on or some ideas on what I think might work for your family. So please contact me if you guys have any questions. Now, in my experience, the best time to buy a new RV is going to be in January or February of a year. It's before tax season when people usually get a kickback, so they have a big down payment, and it's right after the holidays. So generally people are going to not have as much money because they spent a lot on the holidays. If you can plan ahead knowing that you want to buy an RV for next summer, plan ahead and start socking away that money for an RV fund. I like I said, I recommend January or February. It's going to be the slowest times at the dealerships. The snowbirds have already purchased all their RVs and have started to travel. It's also a transition time for the dealerships to go from their snowbird inventory and start bringing in the new inventory of the bunkhouses and things, so that you're going to have a lot more options to look at. It's slower for the dealerships, and they still want to make sales, so they're generally able to work more easily with you, because not many people prepare for January, February to be buying a trailer. Now, with warranty stuff, though, there's a kicker with the warranty stuff, right? They're going to tell you right out of the gate how they're going to help you out in the end. My experience with that has been that they will take care of your warranty stuff, but it's going to take a lot longer than, in my opinion, it should. I'll just leave it at that. The customer service after the fact, they really want to make the sale. They're going to talk up how good they are at taking care of you for your warranty period and for the rest of your time. And they do a very good job of getting you out the door and giving you the information that you want and telling you what you want to hear. When it comes time to warranty stuff, remember that you still have to bring it back to the dealership, have them take care of it. They're still selling more trailers. The trailers that are just sold have priority over your warranty issues. So your trailer's going to sit there for probably a couple weeks while they get slow enough or make the time to take care of your warranty work, because they're still selling trailers, and those people take precedence because they want to keep those customers happy that just bought a brand new trailer. Sorry, I'm kind of skipping around. I'm checking my notes here real quick. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Regarding financing, a number of the dealerships, you can stretch most RV loans out to 15 years. If your RV, now I'm not a tax expert, but if your RV has a toilet, you can classify it as a second home. So you can write off the interest that you pay for your RV. Now, obviously, disclaimer, I'm not a tax expert. Talk to your tax advisor, talk to your tax person, but I've been able to, with my tax person, write off my interest every year that we've had our RV because it classifies as a second home. Financing stuff, I always recommend going in ahead of time with your own game plan. Talk to your credit union, talk to your bank about getting your own financing scheduled ahead of time. Sometimes the dealership's able to beat those, but the ball is in your court then. You already have a backup option. You already know what you're planning on doing with that. And if they're able to help you out and get you a little better deal, fantastic. But if not, you already know what to expect you're going to be paying. You already know exactly what the terms of your financing will be. Like I say, most RV loans are between 6 and 15 years. If you really get into the higher end RVs, I think you can stretch them out to 20. We've never done that. The highest we've ever done is 12. And we're able to, with that, keep our payments low enough that we can justify having it during the winter time, because you're still making payments on it in the winter, even though you're not using it as much. And then we really try and make an effort of using our RVs every month so we can justify those payments. You will need insurance on it. Yeah, so I hope that this answered some of your guys' questions regarding RVs and what to expect when you go to purchase an RV and a lot of those items. Like I said, just to recap, this video is really pointed towards the families that are looking to get into RVing and what you can expect for the buying process and what I think is the most important things to look at when purchasing a new RV. If you guys liked the video, I encourage you to please hit the like button. If you have any questions or would like me to help you do some research on RV plans, floor plans, anything like that, please leave a comment in the bottom of the video and let me know what you're looking for, and I'll try and help you. You can also go over to rvhelponline.com. Leave me a comment there. There's a number of different articles that I've written regarding that is really designed for new RVers, whether it's your water system, your toilet system, dumping the tanks, sound system upgrades, tips and tricks, things like that. All different kinds of things I have on my website. So that's rvhelponline.com. Please go over there, check it out. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I'm building this channel as I go. I've only started YouTube about a month and a half ago, and I'm loving the community that we're building here. You guys have been so supportive, and I truly, truly appreciate it. So please stay tuned for more great content to come in the future. You guys take care and safe travels.